My name is Vito Villani. I am the instructor. I am going to do a number 5 on top and a low ball fade. First thing I'm going to do is use my Sterling 4 close and create a line approximately an inch above his ear. Maybe even a little bit lower because we're going to lower it. Now I'm going to drop it down towards the back. Notice how I'm turning the chair as I'm cutting at the same time. Basically, a low fade is just a taper around the whole entire perimeter of the side of the head and the back of the head. Now that that step is established, I'm going to take a number 1 and put it all the way up to what is a 1.5. Now I'm going to take about almost an inch above my first initial guideline. Now I'm going to take a number 2 and do the same exact step that I did with the 1.5. I'm going to take a 3 and do the same exact step I did with the 2. Now I'm going to take a 4 and go above the 3. As I stated earlier in my other videos, I always start with the clipper lever all the way up because it takes off less hair. If it needs to be taken off more hair, I just lower the lever. Now I'm going to take a number 5 and simply go over the top of the head, breaking it off into sections, starting with the top of the head, the apex, to the crown. Breaking it off into sections is ensuring that I'm covering the whole entire head. strokes going left to right. Now all these different levels of hair need to be connected. Going from short hair to longer hair. Using my brush, just taking off any loose hair. I'm going to start with my half guard, which is my baby guard. I'm going to attempt to take out this line with this guard. Always starting with it all the way up to a half. If it doesn't work, I simply lower it. Notice how the higher I get on the head, the more I pull up the lever. Now I'm going to take the clip off and go all the way up to a half and slowly finesse this line out. Notice how I use the half guard first just to be safe. Now what I'm going to do is take out my 1.5 guard. Always note that this guard has a tendency to fall off, so what you want to do is hold it on with your index finger just to be safe. And I'm going to go around this perimeter right into here. I don't want to take it too high, because if I take it too high, I'm going to make another hole. That's going to take a lot longer to take out. I'm going to go too high on the low fade. Spend too much time in one area, so what I like to do is rough draft first. I'm going to move to another side of his head. I already established by doing the other side of his head, getting used to his hair texture, that the half guard didn't do what I needed it to do. So I jumped right to the guard, just the half. Instead of going right to the baby guard. If you're trying to fade hair with the guard all the way up, and it's not taking out the line, slowly take it down a little bit lower and go right underneath what you previously did. What I'm doing now is stretching the skin with my thumb to get into small areas. I'm going to take out my 1.5 guard and take out this weight line right in here. Always start with it up because it cuts off less. Once you go up to a certain length, you can lower it and not go as high as you just went, and that's how you fade. When in doubt, pull the guard all the way up and repeat your steps. Now, I like to use this guard because it's a 1, but it's a little bit bigger than your regular one. Notice I'm using the corners just to fade out and lighten up any dark areas that I have to. beard is going to determine what we're going to use for right in his sideburn area to blend into his fade. What I like to call this is a backwards fade because we're actually fading backwards. Right here we used a 0 on the side of his head. So what I need to do is formulate a way to fade that beard into that 0. The safest way to do it, like I said earlier, is always to start up with the guard all the way up because it takes off less. That did a pretty good job, so let's lower it a little bit more and work just in that small little area, leaving it longer towards the bottom. Now, a number 1 is going to fade right into the half. Now keep it moving to the next step because you don't want to spend too much time in one area. We can always go back and fix anything that we see. Now we're going to work out our first line, which is a half. I'll repeat it again. I went half, then I lowered it and didn't go as high as I just went with the half. Now I have to worry about this up here. How I'm going to do that is primarily with the number 1 all the way up and basically lightening up this whole entire area. Lowering it and not going as high as I just did with the 1.5. Everybody's hair texture is different, so sometimes you get overwhelmed by fading the hair. What you have to try to do is not get discouraged and just keep following the procedures and repeat your steps to ensure that nice, beautiful blend. Now that I just used a regular number 1, I can take out a half guard, pull it all the way up, and it's now used as a number 1. So, I'm going to use this as a number 1, and if it's not taking out the lines, I'm simply going to lower it so I can get right below a number 1. I like to call this the fine tuning. Some may also ask why I'm using the Sterling 4. I like it because it's lightweight and it does everything that the wall reflection does. Okay, now what I need to do is right above the occipital bone, we have a very, very, very visible line. That all needs to be erased. If you're not sure which guard to use, always start high and work your way down. So I'll start with number 3. Okay, it's not cutting anything. Pull it all the way up, go a little bit higher, and may cut something. Still not doing much. So now I have my 2 in hand, and I'm going to try my 2. First, always have it all the way up. Remember, our goal is to lighten this area right here. It's not really cutting anything. I'll lower it a little bit, try it again. Not doing much at all. But now we know that that's not the guards that we're going to have to use. And the next guard in line is our white 1.5. Pull it all the way up, start working out that line. Notice the way that I'm flicking my wrist. When I'm getting to where I want to go, I'm kind of pulling off. As you can see, it's starting to get lighter. Now I'm going to lower it and really try to take out this line. And if it doesn't work, we're going to use the next guard in line. That cuts a little bit shorter than this white 1.5. All fading is remembering exactly where you were with the last guard that you used. universal number 1. Now, when fading in precision, always have a comb in your hand because you won't know when you'll have to go a little bit of clipper over comb. Getting a little bit higher than I anticipated, so what I'm going to do at the end of it is come down here and ball this out even more, so it kind of looks like an optical illusion and it looks low than it actually is. Now, coming back to the side, after taking a break from it, I'm starting to see some things that I didn't see earlier, such as a prominent line right here. How I'm going to get rid of that is by going left to right with my half guard, stretching the skin with my thumb. However, if I use my thumb to stretch the skin, you're not going to be able to see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to try my best to take it out without stretching the skin. Growing up was when I got really close to the fade and like took out each hair one by one. The more passionate you are about your craft, the better the haircut's going to come out. Don't rely on the clippers to do the work all the time, even though you know all the steps. So what I'm going to do now is a little bit of clipper over comb. I'm using my comb as a guard. The comb cut off more hair. So if it's not working with the wide teeth, always resort to the small teeth. Clipper over comb produces the smoothest blends possible. Now I'm going to inspect the fade and see what I can do to make it better. Okay, I totally neglected this line right here. I'm going to come back in by 2.5 and erase that line. This side's blended pretty well, although there's a little bit of weight right in here that I can take out with the clipper over comb. Clipper over comb because it all debates how much pressure I put on the head. Putting enough pressure on the head is going to take off more hair. Less pressure obviously will take off less hair. If you don't feel comfortable using clipper over comb, you can always add a guard to it. It's starting to look exactly how I had planned. A little bit of weight in this perimeter right above the ear. Now, the touch-ups are going to happen. I'm going to come in through the bottom with my trimmer, which cuts lower than